I just came up with another bright idea. I am so smart.
Hi, Sandra Della Ripa from Harvest Development Group. We're going to talk about project planning today. In my 30 years in working nonprofits, this following scenario happened way too many times, which is why when we launched Harvest in 2010, one of the first things I wanted to do was help my nonprofit friends get their arms around strategy and also project planning. So listen, you're in another meeting, your team is talking about a really great idea, and they've talked about it before. Everyone is very enthusiastic and animated, and they're all agreeing it's the perfect solution to get your organization to one of its strategic goals. It will reach the right people and be a gem in your crown of services. The meeting breaks up with spirits high, everyone feeling accomplished. 2 months later, you're in an exact same meeting. Your team is still talking about this great idea. This is the third time they've validated what a great idea it is. Someone says, let's do it, and another team member says, okay. But now what? What specifically must be done next to get this great idea out of this loop of great idea phase and into actual action? If strategic planning is the foundation of every organization, then project planning is the gas for your vehicle to get you there. Strategy sets your purpose, your vision, your mission, and it identifies those big objectives. Reach more of your audience, raise more money, attract and engage more volunteers. But for strategic planning to be meaningful and to have an impact, it must be followed by project planning of programs that are put in place and have tactics and actions and measurements that are going to move you forward toward those strategic objectives. How are we going to attract more volunteers? How are we going to raise more money? How are we going to reach more of our audience? To answer all of these hows and to get some traction, you need project planning. You need to define what are the actual things that we will do to accomplish raising more money. Who does them? When will they be done? And how much will they cost? Who else needs to be involved? And how will we implement them? What will be the outcome? How are we going to measure that outcome? And finally, how is it going to help us reach our strategic goal? Project planning is the term we give to this process of answering all those questions and more, documenting the answers and ideas, and then scheduling and monitoring the progress of your implementation. Project planning sets the table for project success. It defines the purpose of the project, who's going to benefit, who's it going to affect. It defines what's needed to complete the project and operate it within the development. It defines who needs to participate in developing and running the project. It defines what your milestones and your measures of success are, what resources you need, and then the time frame for completion. Essentially, project planning is the most important part of turning your idea into a reality. So, what is the process that we take in putting all of these pieces of a good idea together into some sort of order? Well, there really are only 6 basic steps to project planning, which is good news for everyone, right? Once you master these 6 steps, they're going to become second nature. You're going to find that you'll use this process not only for your big projects, your programs, your events, your operations, but you're going to find that in your own way, you're using them for smaller personal projects, a social media post, a letter campaign. They're going to become second nature to what you do. So let's take a look at what these 6 simple steps to project planning are. I'm going to list them here, and then we'll go into a little bit of detail on each of the 6 steps. There is so much more to this, and you could find information on our website. You could join our Do Good Better Facebook group where we will talk about project planning and have some live panel discussions, some live trainings. And then there are certainly you can give us a call and we could talk about your projects that need to be planned and see how we can help in a much more personal way. So let's start with number 1. Establish the project purpose and goal. Now, this may seem simple, but a purpose is the why. It's not the outcome. What do we mean by that? Well, you have to justify why you're spending the resources of time and money on this project. A lot of good ideas should remain just that, good ideas. Things for other organizations or people to do, not you. All of your projects should support, advance, or amplify your mission, and most importantly, point you toward achieving your strategic objective. Whoa, hold on, you say. What's my strategic objective? If you don't have a strategy yet for your organization or your department, then you need to put a pin in it, go back to our first discussion on strategic planning and get that in place. Project plans don't really work unless they're lining you toward your overall strategic goals, okay? So as you're thinking about your project purpose and goal, use a critical eye. Ask yourself, how is this really good idea going to help our organization meet one of these strategic objectives that we have? Maybe a really good idea is about delivering training to your community on internet safety. It's a great idea. Many people need this. What specific strategic objective in your strategy plan does this idea advance? Who's the project for? Which audience? What are the outcomes that will meet the strategic objectives you have? This last item is called your goals. Your final purpose and goal statement should look something like this. Our internet safety training will educate 400 new community members, your audience. You have a quantifiable. You're going to measure something, 400. Ages 60 and above, you're getting really specific on your audience. You know that that's in your strategic objective. On safe internet surfing, what is it that you're trying to achieve? This project will also create brand awareness for our organization, another strategic objective you may have. And finally, this project will be used to invite 20 new volunteers, your audience and a number, to assist us as part of our community education project team. Boom, 3 objectives scored with 1 project. That's a hit, I would say. The second step in project planning after you decide your purpose and your goals is gathering insight. Here you're going to find out what the target of your project wants. What does your audience need? What did you do for them in this area last time that didn't work? And what is going to be necessary to make this project a reality for them? Gathering this insight is about maybe asking your audience what type of internet safety they're most concerned about. That would be a really good process in this gathering insight step. You also want to consider, when is the best time for this to be done? Should it be done virtually or in person, in small groups, in large groups? Do they feel they'd learn better with one-on-one? Should it be a one-time project program or should it be continuous? Is this interactive? Is it recorded? You have so many questions to uncover in this second step of gathering insight, and all of these answers are going to allow you to build exactly what and how your audience needs and wants. It's never a risk when delivering a program that your community specifically needs in a way they want, when they want it. Gathering insight simply means looking internally and externally and determining what you'll need to do to host the training, what your audience requires, what are the tools, technology, information, materials, who should be involved, and the costs as well. You're just getting a big bin of data at this point. So now we're on to step 3, right? 2 easy steps: define your purpose and goal and gather insight. Now in step 3, we're actually going to get into the guts of the project. And here's where it gets fun. So you're going to take all your data points, that big basket of data, and your project purpose and goals and post that up in front of you. And you and your team are going to put on your creative hat and really begin to visualize what this program might look like. What is this internet safety training program? Tell yourself the journey of your project from development to implementation. You know, whenever I think about telling a story of a journey, my favorite movie is Elf. And in the scene where Buddy is recalling his journey from his home to New York City, I always think of project planning because he says, I passed through the 7 levels of the candy cane forest, through the sea of swirly, twirly gumdrops, and then I walked through the Lincoln Tunnel. That is the exact journey that you're telling yourself about the project that you're planning. So walk through each step of developing, producing the plan, the project, hosting your project in your mind and on paper with your team. Capture these actions that you're envisioning that need to be taken to move this project into implementation. Get fun with it. White paper, crayons, markers, different ideas. This is really the most exciting step for me. Here's some key areas to cover that you want to make sure you include along the way. What action has to be taken? So for instance, we have to create training curriculum for this program of internet safety. A second key area to cover is who is involved in doing this action. It could be a team, it could be a single person. A third key area to make sure that you cover is when the action needs to be completed and what the output will be from this action. In other words, the output from your creating training curriculum will be training curriculum is written, it's approved, and it's ready for use. All right, 1, 2, 3, we're on to 4. See how easy it's been so far and fun. Number 4, define the project schedule and your measurements. Once you have all of your actions spelled out in big story form, journey detailed, step back and then look at the overall map and decide how long will each thing take you, each step along your journey. It may take you a day, it may take you an hour, it may take you 3 weeks, and it may also include other people. So you need to make sure that you're calculating the time that other people will have to participate in this as well. Start with when you hope to get this curriculum launched, this internet safety program started, and then work backwards. Make sure that you have enough time. Do all of these actions fit within the time frame that you're considering? And then additionally, think about how you're going to measure your success on this project at each step along the way. We call those milestones. So you have your goals. Of course, those are 3 measurements you could take. Number of people, ages of people, number of volunteers recruited, right? That's what we said before. Are there other measurements to your success? And don't only focus on the final measurements. Think about what you might measure as you're moving along the path. Maybe you measure the number of registrations you've received to date, or the number of impressions that your social media posts about your new program have made. These are really important, what we call leading indicators. They help you to make sure that there's no negative surprises at the end of your project, that you didn't have enough volunteers, that not enough people registered. And it's also an opportunity as you're measuring these leading indicators to determine what might need to be done to increase what you're seeing. Too low on volunteer recruitment? What do you need to do as a team to pump that up? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're on to 5. We've gotten here quickly. Number 5, determine your resources and your budget. Too often we start project planning by saying, well, we only have $30,000 to spend or $5,000 to spend. That needs to come after, especially if you're going to go out and start cultivating philanthropic gifts for your program or your project, right? So you need to be able to create the best possible project in that case, and then make a case for it for your donor base, and then bring them in to consider investing in it. So don't be constrained by your budget. Don't start with budget. Budget's always number 4. So here we go. Determine resources and budget. By now, you're going to have all of this detail and information and what it's going to cost, the time and talent, everything that is required to make it a reality. Build your budget with an eye toward how you're going to secure the funding and where that funding is going to be deployed within the project to be most effective and most efficient. Do you really need 500,000 flyers to send out? Is there another way to get that done that's less expensive, and you could take that money and maybe deploy it toward personnel or community building? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We are already on to 6. Number 6, Everything's wrapped up now, right? We're ready to go. Doesn't it feel good? Now that idea is no longer just a great idea that's being spoken around a team meeting. It actually has legs. This is something you visualized and you know exactly what you have to do, what door you have to open, what handle you have to turn, what step you have to take to get to the next level. Now we need to tell people about this. So the sixth and final step is define how the project is communicated to others. You're ready to go. Everything is in place. You're ready to communicate to everyone involved in executing on your project, but also to your community about participating in it. Marketing and communicating your project is a final but important step. Who needs to know? What do they need to know? And when do they need to know it? A little later in our series, we're going to really take a deep dive into marketing and communications, identifying your audience, understanding what their needs are, what are they thinking, where they're receiving information, what your messaging should be to get to them. Too much for us to really go into right now, but plan a marketing communication around your project once it's completed. That is critical. There you go. 6 easy steps. And with these 6 steps, your project will be clearly understood, defined. Everyone will know what they have to do. You'll know what it's going to cost. You can start investing, bringing donors in for investments, and you're ready to communicate it out to your community, to your audience, to participate. This is the recipe for success. I hope this has been helpful. Find more information at our website, www.harvestdevelopmentgrp.com. Join like and follow our Harvest Facebook page, or join our Do Good Better Facebook group, where we will have a lot of lively and informational discussion on these and many other topics. And if you'd like to talk to us personally, feel free to call us at 888-586-1103. This has been Sandra Della Ripa with Harvest Development Group. Have a great day.
I just came up with another bright idea.